Hey guys, Piyush here, and recently OnePlus released the OnePlus Nord, its re-entry into the mid-range smartphone market. In this video, we're going to be taking a first impressions of the OnePlus Nord and talking about why it's such a big deal. So this video will be split up into 7 sections, which include what is the OnePlus Nord, the design, the display, the specs, the cameras, the price, and why this phone is significant. So what exactly is the OnePlus Nord? As I said, it's OnePlus's re-entry into the mid-range smartphone market. When asked why the name Nord was given, OnePlus CEO Carl Pei said that the name Nord comes from the concept of true north. It represents the right direction and guidance for the company and its users. Before the phone even launched, it was leaked almost entirely by OnePlus itself on its social media. On top of this, OnePlus has said that this is the first phone in a series, the Nord series, and will be available in Europe and India starting August 4th. So the design of the OnePlus Nord is basically what you'd see in any modern smartphone, a glass sandwich with the vertical camera setup and fairly thin bezels. This phone will come in 2 colors, marble blue, which is basically a teal color, and gray onyx. On the bottom of the phone there's a USB-C charging port. Along with that you get a mono speaker setup. So on the front of the phone you get an AMOLED display with the double hole punch cutout on the upper left hand corner. So on the topic of the display, it's a 6.44-inch 1080p AMOLED display. It has a refresh rate of 90Hz and a 180Hz touch sampling rate. This will give you smooth animations and a much more responsive feel for the display. The OnePlus Nord has an aspect ratio of 20:9, which is almost as wide as this video. It's surrounded by fairly thin bezels and a small chin at the bottom of the screen. On top of this, there's a dual camera hole punch cutout at the upper left hand corner. With the phone, you also get an in-display fingerprint scanner, basically giving you more options when logging into your phone. So for the price of €399, this phone has pretty good specs. It includes a Snapdragon 765G processor, a 4115mAh battery, 5G support, Oxygen OS 10.5 based on Android 10, 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, or 12GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. In addition, India will get a special version of the OnePlus Nord. It'll have 6GB of RAM and 64GB of storage, and it'll cost about 24,999 rupees. So on the back of the phone you get a quad camera setup, or that's at least how OnePlus markets it. In reality, it's a dual camera setup, a wide angle and an ultra wide angle. You don't really need that depth sensor or that macro camera anyways. So on the back of the phone you get a 48MP wide camera, a 8MP ultra wide camera with a field of view of 119 degrees, a 2MP macro camera, and a 5MP depth sensor. On the front of the phone you get a whopping 32MP wide camera and an 8MP wide camera with a field of view of 105 degrees. I personally would never use a 2MP macro camera, and I've heard a lot of other people say the same thing. And the only reason I can even think of some companies spending their own money to put a really bad camera into the phone is just to boast a triple camera setup or a quadruple camera setup. And I hope that they realize quickly that nobody really likes these. I mean, they'll probably just save more money if they don't put these cameras on the phone. On top of this, OnePlus is marketing the cameras on this phone as flagship level, and this is technically correct. And I say that because the cameras on the OnePlus 8 were the exact same camera system. So because the OnePlus 8 is one of their flagship phones and the OnePlus Nord is basically getting the same setup, this has a flagship camera. All OnePlus really did is take the camera system from the 8, tweak it a little bit, and put it into the OnePlus Nord. Now this is kinda smart because then they save money on research and development. As I've heard from many YouTubers, this is not really a flagship level camera. I mean, it's not gonna compare with your iPhone 11 Pro or your Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. So the OnePlus Nord starts at €399, which for perspective is about $480. For the people in India, that's about 27,999 rupees. If you pay this much, you'll get 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. If you want the OnePlus Nord that has 12GB of RAM and 256GB of storage, you'll have to pay €499, which is about $590. In India, this will be about 29,999 rupees. But as I said, there's going to be an exclusive version for India, which has 6GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. That model will be about 24,999 rupees. By now you should have understood that the OnePlus Nord isn't coming to the US. That's exactly why I gave the dollars in perspective. But you can expect a limited launch in North America. So by this point in the video you're probably asking, so what? Why is the OnePlus Nord such a big deal? And there's multiple aspects to the answer of that question. So first of all, the software. The software is probably the most key aspect to many OnePlus phones. So the software of the OnePlus Nord will probably be a big deal. You see, at this price point, you don't get that many phones that have good software. They're usually full of bloatware and bad UI skins, making them feel very cheap. But with OnePlus and their Oxygen OS, this shouldn't be the case. In fact, I've heard many people say that Oxygen OS is the best skin of Android due to its near stock experience. The second thing that makes the OnePlus Nord important is the marketing. Now, marketing didn't really add value to the phone, but it did help hype it up. Through slowly leaking the phone, OnePlus was able to build excitement over a long period of time. This basically gave tech bloggers and content creators a lot of things to talk about with the OnePlus Nord, and because they're talking about it, it's almost like free marketing. Overall, the leaking and anticipation, along with the constant headlines, snowballed into a ton of excitement and energy surrounding the OnePlus Nord. So the last thing I want to talk about is the brand. At the end of the day, the OnePlus brand is key to this phone. You see, other companies look to make a lot of money off the budget and mid-range markets because they can put whatever components they want in the phone and people will still buy them. But not OnePlus. You see, OnePlus didn't spend money on unnecessary things like IP rating. You can still have a water-resistant phone without the IP rating, so they can save some money there. By doing this, OnePlus is getting a fan base, a group of people who consistently buy their phones and provide a cash flow in the future. This is far better than those people who buy a budget phone once, dislike it, and never come back to the brand. So at the end of the day, the software, the marketing, and the brand add up to the OnePlus Nord. This phone is probably going to do really well because of all these three things. So that's pretty much it for the first impressions of the OnePlus Nord. If you like this video, make sure to like, share, and obviously subscribe. Also hit that notification bell so you know whenever I upload a new video. I also have a Twitter and Instagram account where you can follow me at SweetTechPlanet for updates on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.